Now, former DHS senior advisor and Newsmax contributor Charles Marino, along with former senior advisor to DHS under Alejandro Mayorkas and Maryland congressional candidate Bernie Flowers. Welcome to both of you. Chuck, I'm going to start with you here. Listening to the words of Mayor Jacob Frey, really trying to change the narrative. Like, I'm not going to let them go after a hardworking dad who just dropped his kids off, was going to work a 12-hour day, leaving out the key point of the narrative, who is here illegally. It's just crazy watching them change the narrative.
Yeah, they also don't focus on the fact that there's an 8,200% increase in the use of vehicles against ICE and CBP agents as they're trying to conduct their operations. We've spoken about this before, but like Secretary Noem, I'll double down on it. The agent that carried out this shooting was within his rights under the use of force policies, not only within DHS, but at all levels of federal, state, and local law enforcement. They all have the same policies when it comes to a vehicle being used as a threat. Further, I'd recommend to law enforcement, and this certainly applies to myself, I'm not going to be taking use of force policy advice from Tim Walz or J.B. Pritzker or Mayor Frey or Ilhan Omar. That's a good way to get yourself killed. And I'll tell you, if a law enforcement officer were to be killed, as was entirely possible in that situation, I guarantee you Governor Walz wouldn't be standing in front of wreaths to honor that law enforcement officer.
Bernie, another part I think the left-wing media is leaving out about this is on the video. Clearly, you can see the officer is hit with a 2-ton SUV here. I have not heard CNN, Jake Tapper, or anyone else really highlight that point, and you hear from any law enforcement on what is the appropriate response to that, and it could be deadly force, and that is what happened here.
That woman weaponized that vehicle, and if he had not acted the way he did, he would be dead, and we'd be going to a funeral for a law enforcement officer. I stand by what he did. I don't see anything that would deter him from defending himself. And this woman is an organized protester. This is not a organic system that these people are bringing to bear. They are trying to drive us out, and that's just not good.
I want to show this. Bob referenced CNN anchor Jake Tapper, and he grilled DHS Secretary Kristi Noem specifically about how she could make such swift conclusions, such as calling Renee Good a, quote, domestic terrorist, and also defending ICE officer Jonathan Ross just hours after the shooting. Take a look at this exchange.
When there is something that is weaponized to use against the public and law enforcement, that is an act of domestic terrorism. It happened in our shores. It happened here in our country. You don't get to change the facts just because you don't like them. We will continue to look at this individual and what her motivations were.
Again, that's part of an investigation playing out, Chuck. But at the same time, we also know that Mayor Jacob Frey and Governor Tim Walz immediately out of the gate said this was a murder, that any claims of self-defense were completely inaccurate. They're doing exactly the same thing, but frankly, worse.
Well, with the help of the left-wing media, as we saw right there, which is exactly why the FBI should be leading this investigation of this shooting, and the FBI only. The local officials have already predetermined and stated where they're going to come out on this case. They think it was murder. They said it right after it happened, which is why I came out very quickly and said, no, this was justified use of force, use of deadly force in this situation.
All right, gentlemen, got to leave it there. The investigation with the FBI continues on this. Charles Marino, Colonel Flowers, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, Bob, thank you both. Bob, we were talking about the ICE officer, and billionaire Bill Ackman actually donated about $10,000 to a GoFundMe fundraiser for that officer who, again, really isn't being discussed, but a victim too.
Absolutely. So. Well, his career is going to be changed forever, just as well. Tragedy all around.